All right, good afternoon, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome back to another edition of the Weekly Member Spotlight. We're a few minutes late today getting this spotlight out because I've just met someone with patience greater than mine, and I do consider myself a very patient person. So, Lori, I am wildly impressed at how patient you've been this morning or this afternoon with us. We were intending to go live, but we're going to really just record this video and then post it. But I'm very, very excited today to sit down with someone who I've looked up to for quite some time, but I've never really had the opportunity to sit down and get to know on a personal level. Miss Lori Torres, who is the CEO of Parcel Pending. I know that service is something that Village Green certainly takes advantage of and appreciates. We've got, I think, a bid out right now with one of our newest properties, so we're really excited about that. But before we get into our interview with Lori, I did want to take one moment because we are T-minus 6 days to the GCNKAA's Business Exchange event, which is next Thursday, August 20th at 8:30 a.m. We're going to have about a half an hour of networking before the virtual event, and then from 9 to 11:30, we've got the Business Exchange, which is all virtual this year. If you were unable to join us this morning for the practice run, please check your email box. Abby Huffman put together a tips and tricks PowerPoint presentation that is very, very helpful, especially for our associate members who are going to do all of the work. I feel a little guilty as a primary member. I just have to show up and log in, and everybody kind of comes into our rooms. But we're really excited how we've been able to get some support from our fellow associations across the country who have done these kinds of events. We've been planning this new virtual event for quite some time now, but we're ready to go. Michelle is also working on the schedule. Everyone's going to have a designated schedule of who you get to meet with, and you get to choose, a room of people. And if you've not already done that or have any questions about the process, being an attendee, please reach out to me, Michelle, or Abby. We will gladly help you out getting organized. So without further ado, Lori, again, you have been more patient than I have ever asked anyone to be in this initiative. So thank you very much.
Happy to be patient, even though typically I never have patience, but it was totally fine. You got technology, you got to be patient with it.
Well, I'll tell you, I restarted my computer and I was like, oh my gosh, this woman is probably like losing her mind. Who already has this kind of time on a Friday? So first, thank you for your time today. Can I ask you to just start off by taking a moment, introduce yourself, and maybe tell us how long you've been in the industry and how did you get into property management?
Sure, happy to share. And thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here today with you. So I'm the founder and CEO of Parcel Pending. And it's funny because I crossed over to the vendor side, the partner side, after many, many years, 30 years in property management. And so I started my career in commercial real estate, managing high-rise office buildings, mid-rise retail, and then got into multifamily and really fell passionately in love with multifamily. It's like, you get sucked in. It's like the vacuum that sucks you in and you can't get out. And so over the years, I've managed, oh my goodness, hundreds and hundreds of properties. And most recently, before I started Parcel Pending, I was at the Irvine Company where I was the senior vice president. I oversaw 44,000 apartment units, about 1,200 associates, and always in operations. So I wear my operations hat most of the time, but now I'm on the other side of the fence with Parcel Pending and solving the problem with packages in the apartment industry.
Well, I find it very interesting when I have the privilege of speaking to someone who's been on kind of the fence in this business. And I'd love to ask you just, what do you like about being on the new side of service, having kind of grown up in your career on the operations side?
Okay, so two things that I love. One, I love meeting so many people. I have met so many more people so when you're focused in property management, you're usually focused on your property, your assets, unless it's fee management, it's a little different, but you don't meet as many people as you do on the other side. And so I have met so many amazing people in our industry, and it has been an absolute blast. So I have loved every step of the way. The other thing that I find is that I get to be of service to the property management industry. Because of my experience, I end up having conversations with clients and potential clients about trash dumpsters and about rooftop decks that they're building, because I can help, because I have that background. So I'm more than just, lockers. I know the industry, and so I can speak about any of it, which is really fun to be able to do that and be of service.
Well, it really is. And I'm going to jump around a little bit because I'm just curious myself, how was the idea born of Parcel Pending?
So it was funny because it was about back in 2010-ish. And I was in that senior VP role. And whenever I'd go out to the properties, and I try to hit the properties once a month, I'd take one day with a regional manager or a VP, and we would go and spend the day and hit 5, 6, 7 properties. And I always asked the question, first thing, we sat down after I said hello to everyone and said, what's your biggest challenge? And for years it was, my building's falling apart. I have a problem with my maintenance team. I have this really crazy resident problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then it started to be, I have a package problem. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what? You have a package problem? And they kept saying, come see this back room. Come look at all these packages. And then I would be there at the end of the day where residents were coming in. And as we were trying to lease apartments, there were people coming in to get their stuff. And so I thought, oh, we have to solve it. And people started asking for headcount increases and bigger package room and CapEx.
Right.
And I thought, no, we can solve that with technology. And that's how Parcel Pending was born.
That's very interesting. And it's funny because the evolution of how people kind of live, and now, I mean, you can literally have anything delivered to you, and drones are delivering things. It's just insane. So for those of us who started out having those very typical problems, maintenance or staffing or the problems that you expect, the reason we are here in this, property management service industry, kind of became like second place to solving for those kinds of things. And it's been very interesting. So I was curious how that idea came. I'd love to stay just on Parcel Pending because I just have a few questions, and it's so interesting. What are some of the successes and challenges that you've experienced over the last decade or so as your business has evolved?
Yeah, so, I would say probably one of the biggest challenges, it's been challenging all along the way. It's not easy. But, property management isn't easy. There's never a day that you don't have a new challenge that comes up and that you have to find a solution. So I always said, I'm a solution finder. Bring on the problems because we'll just solve it. And so it's the same goes at Parcel Pending. But I would say that it's been challenging all along the way. The biggest challenge, though, right now is everyone's at home, and think about all the shopping that's happening with COVID, and online shopping has increased 86%. What we've seen that increase into our lockers. And so just this past month, we took 2.8 million packages through our lockers, which is insane.
Wow.
And if you think of all the properties that don't even have lockers yet, that they're dealing with all of these packages, and it's really crazy. So that probably is the biggest challenge right now of just managing all of that for the on-site staffs and trying to juggle all the other balls.
Right. What makes Parcel Pending different? Like, what about your product and that service is so valuable to property management specifically?
So I always jokingly say that, look, we have a metal box and we take a package and we send a text and an email, and so do our competitors. But what really makes us different is we come from the industry. Like, we recognize this week was National On-Site Recognition Day. And so we went and we talked to our associates. So many of our associates, about over 60% of our associates actually worked on site or worked in property management. So we understand the business more than anyone else. So in Amazon out there, they have a goal to distribute more product, but they don't really understand the industry and they don't understand the pain points. So we structured the company differently to be very service centric for the industry.
Right. And that is like, I think for any industry, for any service, any product, I had a manager's meeting yesterday with my team, and I was talking about how invaluable it is to grow up on site. And when you meet people who are in the industry, who never really had the opportunity to be a sales consultant or a service technician or work like in the field, I feel for them because that experience, you can't buy it. It's invaluable. So that's a really good perspective. What have you seen in light of COVID? That's an interesting statistic that online shopping, I'm guilty of that. That applies to my life for sure. But what else about COVID and this pandemic has really affected your industry and your business?
Well, I would say for us, there hasn't been huge negative impacts for us. I mean, people have a need and they know that because of package, and people want touch-free experience. And so we at Parcel Pending, but the other locker companies have it as well. So I don't want this to come off as a commercial. I want it to be that, the locker industry has looked for ways to really be innovative. And so to do touchless free, like we have an app that you can literally walk up to the locker, select your, launch the app and open the door. So you don't have to touch the lockers.
Oh, that's cool.
And so that's like, those are the things that are really important and where you have to innovate at a time like this.
Got it. What other kinds of industries does your product fit? Obviously we know you from the apartment industry, but I'm sure that it, kind of crosses lines, are there any other kinds of businesses where you can find Parcel Pending?
Definitely. So we're at universities. We are in
Okay.
commercial office buildings. So think of large corporate headquarters. So for example,
Yeah.
we're on UPS corporate headquarters. All their
Okay.
employee packages for UPS come through our lockers.
Oh,
And then
that's really cool.
we're also we're heavy in retail. And so for buy online, pick up in store. So the beauty of buy online, pick up in store is you can get your stuff fast. You can get it today, but then you have to go to the store and then you wait. And now with COVID, you sit in your car, you text them, you say I've arrived, or you call a phone number, they come out. Well, now retailers are putting us in, and so now you buy online and you pick up in lockers. And so we're in the middle right now of a huge deployment of all across the nation. We're doing over 1,700 locations,
Wow.
right? And it all happened during COVID. And what I love to share about the story is that the entire account happened over video like this. So we have to be different in our industry, and the multifamily industry has to realize we have to do business in a different way, because you can't get on an airplane and you can't go and interact the way you want to, and you can't even interact with your residents the same way. But video has changed the game. It makes life so much easier.
Oh, yeah. Unless you're having technical difficulties.
Well, then
something, but hey, this is perfect. And I think this will even be better because now people can go back and watch it easily. Something that you said sparked a question. You're talking about the competition, and I've seen, having, been in operations for the last 25 years, I've kind of seen the evolution of the different services and products. What kinds of questions do you think for us in property management we should be considering to decide, like, what's the best system, locker system or room system, like what's the best system for your community or your company? What kind of questions do you think we owners and operators should be asking ourselves?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one of the most important is the locker configuration. And so I just got pictures. My son happens to be staying in an apartment community for a new job up in the Northern California. And he sent me a picture, and it was so hilarious because he's like, Mom, I got to tell you, you were right. And I'm like, wait, you're telling me I'm right? What am I right about? There's a package problem. So he sends me a picture of this package room just covered, like it was the mail room, covered in packages, and there next to it was a locker system that was not ours. And the problem with that is that locker system had too many small locker doors. And so you want the right configuration. And we know, because we've taken millions, and I mean 2.8 million just this month alone, we know what configurations you need. So we're here to help you. We're really here to be consultants for you. The other thing you want to know is what's their service experience. And I encourage people, go and listen. Call their office at if they're 24/7 like we are, call us and see what the experience is at midnight. Are you satisfied with the experience? Go and test drive it. Right.
So you're based in California, but service the entire country, right?
Yeah, we have folks all across the nation, and our headquarters is in Irvine, but we're all working from home right now.
Oh, yeah.
There's a few people in the office.
Right. Well, that is just absolutely fascinating. And I'd like to go back to, because you've been in the business for, I think you said about 30 plus years. So
we'll say since I was 10, I started when I was 10. So
that's what I was going to say, before the child labor laws were enacted, obviously. Right. What is a memorable story or experience that you have from all of your time in this industry?
You know what I want to share is it sticks out to me the most is, so a lot of us fall into property management, and many of us didn't have degrees. And now there's more formal degree programs, thank goodness, for property management, but so many of us didn't. And I will never forget that people told me along the way as I was advancing my career, oh, you'll never become a VP because you don't have a degree. Oh, you'll never become a senior VP because you don't have a degree. Oh, you'll never advance because of your degree. And what I really learned is don't listen to that garbage, because you will and you can. And the beauty of this industry is it looks for talented individuals, hardworking individuals, and you can advance. I'm fortunate I did now go and get a master's degree because Pepperdine allows a degree program with no undergraduate, but I never had an undergraduate degree, and I had pretty good success. And so don't let people tell you can't do it. This industry allows for huge career growth.
It is. So that's another thing to watch, the evolution of, no one knows what property management is unless you're really in the business. You're like, people ask you, what do you do? And you're like, I rent apartments. I take care of people. What do you mean? What do I do? It's different literally every single day. But now, there are universities with not just hospitality degrees, but degrees specifically in property management. So I love that fun fact about you, that you got your master's degree and didn't let anyone stop you. There really are no boxes. You can do whatever you want. And if you find what you're good at, whether it's on the sales or the operations or the service side of things, I've seen people without degrees, without experience of every, background, age, etc., really just go as far as they choose to go.
Yeah.
Because this business is about people and it's about relationships, and there's no degree that can teach you how to do those things. So
that's exactly right. That's it. And you have to be willing to work your buns off and give great customer service. Like you have to be of the service mindset that I want to take care of situations because they come up every
Absolutely. Our CEO talks about having a servant heart, and I'm like, that's as profound as anything I've ever heard. You have to genuinely care. And I remember being on site thinking like, I'm so fascinated and interested when people move. It's either the absolute best time of their life or the worst time of their life. You don't leave just because like something incredible is happening, a new job, a new relationship, an opportunity, or you're leaving one of those situations. And it's an incredible, I think, privilege to take care of people during those times. And I instantly felt that. I'm like, wow, this is really cool.
Do you ever think about this, that people are making memories, their life memories are being made in our apartment homes. And when you think about that, like you have this jewel that's in your hand, you have to treat it really well because life is happening right under our roof and you want them to have good experiences.
Yeah, it is. It's so, I just love this industry for so many reasons.
Me too.
What advice or perspective would you offer to people who are up and coming or thinking about, trying out this property management thing?
I think the greatest advice I can give is ask to do more. Do your job and then do more. And so take on everything you can possibly take on, even if you're feeling like, you have tons of work. But the more you do, the more you learn, and the more you ask questions of why do we do this? Why does it work this way? How can we do it that way? Ask questions and just be a sponge and absorb. Great things come from that. And I really encourage people, like, don't just be with your blinders on and just be in the job that you do, because every job matters. I hate when people say, I'm just a leasing consultant. I'm like, no. You're just one of the most important people in the company because you lease the apartment. Or I'm just a porter. No, you are such an important part. So every role matters. But like you said earlier, I think we in the industry need to go out and explore and experience every one of those jobs, because they're not spend a day and go be a tech or a porter, or go spend a day as a leasing consultant and then go spend a day as a regional manager. None of them are easy jobs. They're all have their challenges. They just have different responsibilities.
That's exactly right. Well, that's good advice in this business and in life, is just get uncomfortable too and go figure out what other perspectives are. So I love that. Thank you. Sure. Well, can we shift gears? I'd like to get to know you a little bit more personally. And I'd like to start off by asking you, just tell us about your family.
Sure, happy to share. I have two boys, and a 23-year-old and a 29-year-old. I don't know how, because I'm 29 myself, but
I know, right?
The math doesn't work. And my oldest son, Gavin, is getting married in 3 weeks. So it's a very exciting time for us.
That is exciting.
Of course, with COVID, it had to change a little bit. And then, and so my kiddos are extremely important to me. I also have a kind of daughter, a gal who lived with me her senior year of high school, and now she's just become my daughter. So I should just call her my daughter. But the beauty is when children become adult children is that you end up with others too, because now I have an amazing soon-to-be daughter-in-law. So now all of a sudden I have two daughters, and it's just the whole experience is so great. And so I feel so fortunate. I've worked my buns off for years and years and taken Parcel Pending to where it is today. And so I'm having a blast, and I really am enjoying life, even though I am a little cabin fevered right now being COVID. I will admit. I feel very fortunate.
Well, that's exciting. Okay, I have to be a girl for just a second and ask about the wedding stuff. Are they going to actually be able to have a ceremony and have people attend?
They are, but we're on round take 2. So she actually sent out take 2 invitations, because it was supposed to be on May 9th, which is 5/9/20, and it ended up now being on 9/5/20. And
that feels like a sign.
I know, right? And so much smaller, and but still a nice size wedding, and we're going to do it outdoors. And so we're going to keep everyone safe and distanced as much as we possibly can, which is going to be challenging.
Right.
So it's a really exciting time. I'm so happy for them.
Oh, that is so exciting. I've known a few people who have had to postpone their weddings, and one just got married this past weekend, and 2 are getting married before the end of the month. And I'm so I can't imagine having to go through that situation where you plan that day and then have to, I mean, who could think of something like a pandemic interrupting your, the most important day of your life?
I know. But it
Exciting.
is
I hope
kind
it
of like
goes well.
property management. Things change, problems come up,
That's
and you
right.
have to solve it. And so
You gotta
that's what we've
roll.
done is like, we're going to solve it. We're going to figure out a new plan and we'll go with
Well,
plan B.
good. Well, that sounds exciting. Well, what do you like to do in your spare time? Do you have such a thing as spare time?
Well, I do work a lot. I do have a
Yeah.
little bit of a problem, and many of us in the industry have a little bit of a problem with
Right.
workaholics because it's so fast paced and because it's always changing every day and there's needs every day. But since COVID, I did take up tennis. I'm taking tennis lessons. I'm terrible.
That's
And
awesome.
I played golf. I do play golf. I played it for 20 years. And a funny thing is, I took up golf because there was an apartment industry event, a golf tournament, and I wasn't going to be left out. And I was like, I got to play golf. And it was one of the best decisions I've ever made because I meet so many people. And so now I'm actually taking lessons because 20 years later, I'm not good. And so I've been doing that. And then I read a ton. I've just been like, I feel like I'm eating books. I'm consuming
Right.
books.
Do you like to read tangible books or do you do audio books?
The old fashioned way. Yes.
Yeah.
I tried the Kindle and I just can't get there. And so I'm just turning pages and reading a lot.
What's one of the best books you've read of late?
You know what I read? I'm normally a self-help book and more biography type books, but I've been reading fictional just because I needed my brain to be a little bit, from in COVID, you have to think a little differently. Yeah. So one of the favorites that I just recently read was American Dirt, and it was so good and so fascinating. While it wasn't a true story, it was a true story, and it was about a family that tried coming over to from Mexico to the U.S. And the challenges that happened getting here. Yeah. Unbelievable. So then, of course, what I do is I take that fictional story and talk to people that I know. And I'm like, can you tell me about your story? And then you start to, you build this connection with people that you would never have had. So that book changed my relationship with some people that I've actually got to understand, like, tell me about your background. Tell me about how you or your family made it here to America. What was it like? And then you just have this deeper connection. So it's been actually a very cool experience. Okay,
that's one of my favorite questions of this initiative because I have a list. Like, if I read nonstop for the rest of the year, I don't know if I could get through, but I just wrote that down. I am definitely going to look that up. But that sounds great. And I do the same thing. I kind of toggle between motivational or business or self-help kind of books, and then sometimes I'm like, I just need to like not think about anything and being for a second. And so, well, that's exciting. Are you much of a TV or movie person? If so, what's
so this is really funny. No, I'm lame. I'm probably boring. People probably think I'm boring. I never turn my TV on. I have one, and I probably have
see it.
You can see it in the background, right? And I've probably had it on once in the last 2 months. And so, and when I'll get, like, I got into a couple of great Netflix shows and series, but that was a couple months ago. But no, I work a lot, and then I also have friends, a lot of friends, and I am a single woman, and so I do have a lot of friends around me that so we'll come over and have dinner. I love nothing more than having dinner with family and friends, and so I'm a human connection person, and so what is most difficult about COVID for me personally is not seeing you, even though seeing you video is pretty good. Like, I'm a hugger. I love to be with people in the space, and so that has been probably the biggest challenge. And one of the learnings for me is like, ooh, I need the human connection in my life.
I could not agree more. I've had 2 nights out with friends, dinner this week, and I'm like, give me human beings. Like, I need it so much. And then I'm like, they probably think I'm like a bottle of wine in or something because I'm just nonstop talking. When you're on video like this, it is the next best thing. I completely agree. It's better than a text or an email, but there is just no comparison to having a human connection with people and in the moment. So I can
I worry so much right now. Like, I have about 250 employees, and I just had a conversation. We do an all hands once a week and full team meeting. And I talked yesterday in our all hands about the mental stress people are going through right now with COVID. And I'm blown away when I talk to associates and ask them, like, how are you really doing? And they'll tell me, they're like, I have anxiety. I'm stressed out. And there's so much of that right now. And so you have to find some routines and some rituals, and you have to eat healthy and exercise and read other things and not watch the news constantly, because it's a tough time. And for those of us who I'm a pretty optimistic person, I have to say, like, I find the positive in everything. I do worry about some of the people that are having a hard time. So when you get to go with your girlfriends and be with them and have dinner with them, it's special. You got to do that. And you can do it in the hall. I'm not going out to restaurants for sure, but I'm getting together in places where we can be safe.
Well, good. Well, I could not agree more. So I know that you have spent your entire career in this industry, and you hold a few special designations both in the industry and not in the industry. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but in addition to your master's degree, I know I saw in your questionnaire you've got some industry designations and a broker's license in California. Tell us about just your professional designations and special awards, even if you've won any special awards or anything you want to make mention of on a professional level.
Sure. I mean, I've been so blessed to have so many nice honors come my way. So I do have a CPM designation. And let me tell you, I had this mentor of mine. I was probably, I don't know, 23 years old, 25 years old. I can't remember. And he's like, you're going to take a week off and you're going to write your plan for the CPM. And he'd like, first I went through all the classes, and then he's like, you are going to get this done. And I'm so grateful for him for pushing me to do that, because I think it added value to me to have the CPM designation. I do like the broker's license. And it's funny because I never had the undergraduate degree, and that was like this gray cloud sitting over my own head. It was a story in my head not having it. And so now that's all gone since I went and got the degree. Since I've become an entrepreneur, I have won so many nice honors. I'm just like so in awe that I've actually got them. I won a Innovator of the Year award. I won Entrepreneur of the Year, a couple for different programs, but the big one was for EY, which Ernst & Young does the Entrepreneur of the Year program. So I actually won regionally, and when I went to nationals, I was a finalist, and I was blown away that could even happen. And then I was also in EY, a program called the Winning Women, and that has been phenomenal for me. So it was a way to network. Like you won an award, but you also won, like you got into this class, or it's like a sisterhood is what they say. And I have this network of hundreds and hundreds of CEOs that I can now reach out to. And we all understand being women entrepreneurs. It's funny because I never thought of myself. I never was one to do women things. Like I was just business is business. And I like to be with the guys as much as I like to be with the gals. And I never put it into two buckets. And then with my company and the success that we've had, I realized there's really a need to help women and to lift them up and to support them. And so it has been a phenomenal journey for me. I'm so fortunate for what has happened with Parcel Pending. It's been a good ride. I
love that. Well, one thing that caught my eye in reading your bio was that your company has actually been a top workplace as well for a few years. So
how did I not mention that? I can't even believe I didn't mention it 3 times. I'm so
awesome.
And we just completed the surveys now. And I always tell my team, I'm like, look, be honest. I want you to be completely transparent. Yeah. If it's not good, I want to know about it. And so when I sold the company in 2019, and we didn't win that year. And it was heartbreaking. Like I was more proud about Best Workplace than I was about selling the company, than I was about all the great stuff that we did, because that says our associates are happy and it's a good workplace. And so I realized that I didn't lead them in a way to give clarity, and that I didn't show them where we were going, because it was a change, and people don't like change in a new company. And what does it mean? So I'm really excited to see what the results are this year, because it feels better right now, and the culture feels really good. So we will see. But I also don't want them to be just, mark the box so we win. I want it to be authentic. And if we don't win, then I get to look at myself and look at our executive team and go, okay, what are we doing with our culture that's not making it to be the greatest workplace for people?
Right. Well, we put a lot of stock into that designation, and of course the spirit of it being associate satisfaction, because there is nothing more valuable than your people and your front line. So that really stuck out to me, and congratulations on that. That's inspiring. Well, we are rounding out our interview time. Again, thank you so much for your patience. I have just 2 more questions for you, and then I'll let you get to your weekend. I
have work to do. There's no weekend yet.
I know, right? My first, next to last question for you is, how do you think folks who have known you throughout your career, Lori, would describe you if they were describing you to someone who had never met you?
Crazy. And I say that because when I left the Irvine company, so many of my peers, and I said, I'm leaving, I'm going to go start my own business. And honestly, it was like a tattoo on their forehead that said crazy. And then now after I sold the company, they're like, maybe you weren't so crazy. I thought you were back then.
Right.
But I think what they would say is that I'm definitely a person of integrity, and that my word matters, and they know that about me. But they also know that don't get in the way because I'm going to get it done. If I'm on a mission, we as a team, we are going to get it done. And so they definitely know that I'm driven, but I'm not. It's not about me. It's really the team. And the team is why we've had so much success. And I have an amazing team. I'm so fortunate.
Oh, clearly, I'd say so. After all of the business success, that you would have to have a great team. As great as you are, you have to have a team behind you to get to the goal line, right?
I'm like 1% of it. They're the 99% for sure.
Well, my last question is, first of all, again, I really appreciate you being based in California and having such a national presence to take time to do, you know, an interview, spend an hour and a half of your Friday with someone from the GCNKAA. How do you feel like your involvement with the National Apartment Association and the affiliates has helped Parcel Pending be successful?
So the apartment associations have always been near and dear to my heart. I was the president. I sat on the board for the South Coast Apartment Association, which was in Orange County, California, for many, many years. And then I became the president. And then I was on the board of the California Apartment Association. Okay. And I've been really active in, you know, National Apartment Association and NMHC. And so the associations matter to me, really, because they help on the legislative side. They help make our industry a more professional industry. And so I love what you guys are doing. I think that it's awesome that you figured out how to do this weekly get to know you conversation. And I think the apartment associations are important, and it's important for us to teach the kind of the newbies coming up in the industry how important it is. If we don't educate them on the value of it and really the legislative piece of it, crazy laws get enacted. I mean, California, we've just been fighting and fighting for rent control. And so there's a lot of issues and initiatives, and there are landlords that don't treat their residents well, and they don't treat their employees well, and there is discrimination, and we have to we have to stop it. And that's the value of every one of our associations. And so I'm honored to be at your association today, and our team participates. And I hear great things. I haven't personally, because of lockdown, I haven't been able to go out and do anything with you all, but I'm so impressed with what you're doing.
Well, thank you very much. I've been in the industry for 25 years, and I've had a little bit of a interaction with probably 10 different affiliates in the country through the National Apartment Association. But there is something very, very special about the Greater Cincinnati Northern Kentucky Apartment Association. I'm certainly biased, but I think so too. And we really appreciate and value your partnership. And I know Sue Donovan with your company, and she's fantastic. And I know she'll be there next week for our business exchange. So we're very excited about that. But Lori, is there anything else before we go? Any parting words of wisdom or anything else about Parcel Pending that you'd like to share with us?
I think the last thing is that we do want to be of service. And so because we come from the industry and we have such a deep-rooted background, and I mean, we have people from training and marketing to, me who is an operator, we have lots of operators. Let us be of service to the industry. And so whatever that looks like, as people are trying to make decisions, especially about lockers, we're happy to look and help you analyze the bid. Even if we don't get the job, we will help you and say, look, here's what this, because it's confusing and it's tough for people. So we just want to be of service because we really do come from the industry and we're passionate about it.
Well, thank you once again. It's been a pleasure. I am going to go live and announce that this edited version of our interview is coming out very soon. So thank you once again, Lori. I look forward to meeting you in person, hopefully post-COVID.
I hope so. I hope I get on a plane and come visit you. I would love it. It was a pleasure meeting you and pleasure talking to you. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and thank you so much for having us today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. So Michelle will edit this. We'll post it. And listen, I would love to see pictures from your son's wedding. I'm like a girl about that kind of stuff.
I'm so excited.
Usually, I know, I can't even. Usually when we started doing this, like before COVID, we started doing written post only. There was no interview component, and we would share pictures. And I loved seeing the pictures so much because, first of all, it was fascinating to see which pictures people chose to share.
Yes.
Got this extra look into people's lives. And then when we started doing the interviews, we still did a couple of photos, and it's just evolved over time. This interview thing is fantastic. In person's a little better, but this, I wouldn't otherwise have a chance to sit down with you. So I love just opportunity. I think we'll probably keep this even when we can get back in person together, but I just love getting to know what makes everybody tick, you
I
know?
love that you're doing it. I know how busy you are and that,
Yeah.
you have a big job. And so for you to do this and take the time, and then when
Hey.
you have technology problems, it's even more of your time. But I think it's awesome. Tell me this, how many listeners are you getting?
So I think the widest audience that we've had for an individual week has probably been like 1,600, but it's on average like 4 to 7 or 800. When we have national people and when people actually engage and share it themselves and, let us tag you in it, it's infinitely better.
Yes.
So Abby Huffman, who is with Rep Manager, I don't know if you know Abby, she's the president of our associate council. She's won national awards recently, and so she's pretty well known. Her video, gosh, I don't even know what the analytics were last time we looked at it, but on LinkedIn alone was approaching 2,000. So just as engaged as you choose to be with sharing it on your own platforms and whatnot. I mean, we've about, I think, again, 15 or 1,600 followers. And then depending on who shares it with their own followers and whatnot, we've seen, I'd call it an average 1,000.
Yeah, we'll share it far and wide for sure. Did you by any chance see on our site, on the either LinkedIn or any of our social, we did a thank you video to the on-site teams this week? Yeah. It felt so cool. I was like, it made me cry.
I know, that was so cool. I did a little video to my team and I thought about posting it on LinkedIn. It was very intimate for them. I still might, but I saw several people do something like that. And I'm like, that's just so, it means so much to, I mean, it doesn't cost anything to take a minute of your time and say thank you and be authentic like that. So I did, I saw that and I loved it. I also wanted to let you know that I invited Sue in November or December to do this as well. And if there's anyone else in your organization that you'd like, I mean, we can have 15 people be a feature and we'll just kind of spread them out, one a month or something like that. Right now I'm booked through October, so completely wide open in November and December. But if there's anyone that you know from Parcel Pending or just in the industry who would be a good candidate to do this, we welcome all of you.
Yeah, my CMO, Colleen Lambros, so she's been in the multifamily space for also almost 30, maybe 25 years. And she would be great because she comes at it from a marketing perspective. And they're marketing into multifamily all these years, and she was also at the Irvine Company with me back in the day. And so she would be great to be on it. And Sue, I love Sue. I feel so
she's a doll.
Sue on my team. I'm like so happy to have her. And
she's just pleasant. Like she's a very pleasant person.
Is for sure.
Well, if you want to virtually introduce us, I will get your CMO scheduled, and that would be fantastic.
And give me your cell phone because I'm going to send you pictures. So when my son couldn't get married, when he couldn't get married on May 9th, I had a limo pick him up and went and picked up food and then brought it to my house. And then we did a beautiful beach setting and made it so it was this romantic dinner. I'm going to send you pictures. So,
you know what? So I got married on like a Thursday night at a church because we had to be married to buy our house. I was like 20 years old, something. Horrible thing, horrible mistake, whatever. Yes. And then I spent like the next 10 or 15 years watching all of these people have these beautiful weddings. And I just regretted it so much, like so much. And so I don't know that I would ever get married again. There's a Disney weddings program on Netflix. I get on Pinterest and look at stuff all the time. I'm like, I'm such a girl about all of that. And I think it's because I didn't have it. And I didn't think I wanted it until I started seeing just what a beautiful day and the picture. And to not have a picture, it was.
Did you ever think about starting a business in the wedding space? Because I remember.
Actually, yes. I have a family member who is a salon owner, and she was just talking about, because she does a lot of bridal parties, and in our area, I live in northern Cincinnati in the suburbs, and there's this kind of fascination with getting married like in barns, and people, there are a couple of like lake houses and things like that. She's like, we need to buy something because we live in a really unique area. It's right between Cincinnati and Dayton, Ohio. She's like, there's nothing here. It's perfect location. It's off the high. So we've kind of like over the last year, especially during the pandemic, because she was one of my quarantine buddies, her a 9-year-old little boy, and she has a 12-year-old
yours is a 9?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I had I was married for 10 years before I actually had my son. And so I had him, I'm 43 now. And
you look so young. When you said you've been in the business 25 years, I'm like, no, you haven't.
Whatever. I've got so much lighting in here. I'm like, in my very near future.
You look great.
Well, thank you. But so we've been talking about this, and I'm like, I mean, I love property management and I would never do anything different, but I could maybe have a side hustle, like put her in charge of running it. I could be your equity. I'm over here. Like, that does sound really fun because I'm just enamored by the spirit of weddings, you know?
So fun. Well, it's like, I always dreamed of living on the beach. Like, that's been my dream since I was a kid. And so I sold the company. I still work obviously at Parcel. And, but I found I wanted a little tiny cottage on the beach. So I found a place on the beach, and it's like, everyone's smiling on the beach. I now know why I like the beach so much. No one's ever unhappy. They're always happy. Everyone's so nice. My neighbors are so nice. Everybody's just, because it's like weddings.
It's the beach.
You have to be happy at a wedding. You have to be happy at a wedding, unless you shouldn't be getting married.
Well, there's that. When I kind of explored Pinterest for the first time, and I was just like, what can I look up? What can I see? It's like my guilty pleasure. I don't watch a ton of TV either, but if I just need like a mindless whatever, I go to Pinterest and I don't know if I'm daydreaming or if I just genuinely love. And so I'm going to text you. You gave me your number, 949-232-8687.
You got it. Text me and I'm going to send you some pictures of my son and his, and then I'm going to send you I'm going to crack you up because Natalie, my kind of daughter, she and I dressed up like we were waiters. And so I'll send you, you're going to laugh when you see a couple of them.
Okay. Tell me if you got that.
Not yet. Oh wait, I put my phone on airplane mode because I didn't want to during the, so let me
know what? Usually I tell people to do that. Make sure your phone is on silent. I was so out of sorts by.
Yeah, no problem.
Technical issue.
That was weird, wasn't it?
That was weird and super annoying. If it wasn't Friday, I'd probably be more annoyed, but I know Friday's on the horizon, so.
Yes, I know. Happy Friday to you. Thank you so much. I wish that you were my neighbor because I could tell that I love being with you and spending time with you.
I was thinking that. And I was watching for your cues because listen, I understand how busy you must be. And I'm like, she's going to probably flip her literal crap in just about 2 seconds if I don't get this together. So I was watching you. You were just like, oh, I'm just going to get another cup of coffee. I'm like, I really like her.
There's no reason to get worked up about anything.
I know, right?
I've just decided it's like, just deal with it. And so I handled some emails while you were dealing with your side. And so, it's not the end of the world.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your grace. And I will hopefully pay that forward next time I feel impatient.
Exactly. If I can do anything, let me know. I'll do an email introduction for you and Colleen, and I'll send you some pictures.
All right. Well, I'm going to go Facebook Live probably right now and say this is coming. Michelle's going to edit it for us, and then she'll post it or I'll post it here in just a few. We are connected, I think, on Facebook. But if not, I'll friend you so I can tag you in it and then just share it and comment. And thank you once again.
Okay. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.